Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday morning, October 19, and this is the Pill Method Club. And what we're going to be talking about is how to better understand and eliminate debt. Oh my goodness. It just occurred to me that we've never really talked about how people are looking for, people tell me all the time, I was looking for, praying for, hoping for a better way to eliminate our debt, Dawn. And I want to talk about that this morning. How are you doing?
I'm amazing, Dawn. Good to be here. You know, I love hanging out with you.
All right. Well, listen, I need to, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let's talk about it.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dawn Robinson, the Money PhD. I am a finance counselor, not finance counselor, sorry, personal finance educator. Sometimes people call me a money coach, but my story starts as a single mom turned millionaire, right? Who got a bad boss, thought I had done everything right, 401ks, 3 rental properties at the time, 8 months of savings. But it was a toxic environment, and I realized that I could not afford to quit. I say that I wanted to tell her she was number one with a different finger. And so I had to look at my finances. I said, get financially naked with myself. I was $140,000 in consumer debt, paid it off in 17 months. And so now my journey is to help other professional women. Most of us know how to make the money, secretly struggling to figure out how to start and to balance saving, paying off debt, and investing. I help them to figure out where they need to start to get started in a safe space. And my last thing is that I believe you're not financially free until work becomes optional. So this is Dawn, and I'm done speaking.
All right, listen, we got somebody with their hand raised and they've got a party hat on, but guess what I'm not seeing? Okay. They're not no followers. They're only following one. I have no idea who that is. And they're not connected to social media. And so Dawn says, listen, folks, and listen, it's not that I love to have questions, okay? But we are simulcasting out to 4 platforms, and this information that we're putting up is out there permanently. And if somebody wants to come up and say something nasty or, do something disruptive, we don't edit that out. It stays out there forever. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get a picture. You're going to have to get some social media connected, MK, before we take the chance in bringing you up on stage. Okay. So, I'm sorry, but we just can't do it now. I'd love to. Dawn says, absolute no. She's got a thumbs down on that right now. So let's do this. Let me go in here and, okay. We're going to turn, let's see, hand raising. We're going to turn it off and then turn it back on to everyone to get that out of there. So anyway, sorry, sir, or ma'am, but just can't take the chance. Fill out your bio, connect it to some social media so our team can do some background checking just to make sure you're not, a disruptor. And some people call them trolls. I'm not saying you are one. I'm just saying can't take the chance. Miss Stephanie Rice, right here, watching us, looking at us on YouTube, trying to get this information that we're talking about today. So listen, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. So we got some shares going out. We've got okay, so they did put something in, says Kumar, 7 years, how about 70? Okay, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Okay, anyway. So if you want to put a question in the chat, go ahead and put your question in the chat, Madan, and then we'll see what we can do. But we generally help people pay off all of their debt in about 7 to 9 years instead of 30 years to never. Right now, people are looking at their debt. And what we want to do is talk about, is there a feeling that you have or something that you've noticed when you're taking a look at your mortgage, your student loans, your credit cards, and you're paying on them. You may even be following some good advice, but for some reason it just doesn't seem right. You know something is up. You just don't know what it is. Okay. We're going to bring that to the stage and let's see if we can help you there, because that reminds me of that movie, The Matrix. You know, when Neo was trying to figure out something is going on here, it doesn't feel right. And then he says, you know, he wanted to know what the Matrix really is. So if you're wondering what these loans are all about, how they actually work, but nobody actually told you, and you just realized that you've never had a class on how amortization or lending really works, we're going to offer you the red pill today. The red pill is you're going to take a chance and maybe learn some information that is uncomfortable, that may be exactly opposite of what you've ever learned about the debt or about lending or about finances in general. But you're going to take the chance and find out some new information that's going to put you in control of your finances. That's the red pill. Or you're feeling it, but I think the devil I know is going to be where I want to stay. So I'm just going to take the blue pill and stay in my ignorant bliss. And ignorant meaning not a bad word, but someone who does not know. All right. So that's how we use the term ignorant. We're just unaware. We don't know. Okay. Anyway, so we got some people in the chat. Okay, Latanya. Latanya Watson says it's working for my husband and me. Thank you so much. We're applying it to 2 mortgages. Latanya, you got 2 mortgages? Oh my goodness! Check you out. So listen, can you come to the stage, Latanya, or are you at work? What are you doing? Can you come up? We appreciate your comments. So raise your hand. You can come up. Go ahead, Miss Dawn.
I just want to say that you could use me for an example, because sometimes what I find is that most people have debt, nobody wants to talk about it, right? And so there's a lot of shame and guilt that go with debt, even though somehow the American dream includes a whole lot of debt. But when it comes to talking about it, especially from a cultural standpoint, American culture, that we don't want to talk about that. We want to work this thing out in secret. And I think that's what keeps a lot of us stuck. So if you need to use me as an example, feel free to ask questions until people feel comfortable that we're really talking about the real thing and really want to see them win with their money.
Well, listen, I tell you what, there are people out there that are talking about that debt is a bad thing. Oh, I don't think so. I think it's a very good thing. All right. I think I want to leverage somebody else's money. I want to use your money. All right. Bank or whoever. I want to use your money. And then I want to leverage that money so that I can make more money.
That's what I'm saying, Don, and is that most people have not used debt that way. That's what's keeping them from learning how to use it in an effective way. And when I say debt, I'm talking about all of it. I'm not separating it out. I'm talking most of the consumer debt,
right?
The credit cards, and they have not used it for income producing assets. I know I didn't. That's not the way I learned. I heard use other people's money, but it wasn't whether it was effective or not. And I think that is the shame and guilt behind it. Yeah, everybody talks about when they have, 471 rental properties. They'll tell you that.
Okay.
But I think if you could just kind of maybe phrase it to where put it all in one spot.
Gotcha.
And then they might feel a bit more comfortable.
Okay. All right. Well, let's put it this way. Let's say you took the traditional view. All right. I've got credit cards. I got car loans. Okay. I've got a mortgage. I've got student loans. None of this debt that I have was structured or had the purpose of making money. I didn't get any of this debt to make money. I got this debt because I thought it was the way to go to just to be able to live life. We're going to talk to you about if you're wondering about that kind of debt today. If you're wondering about, I've got credit cards. Did you know the average family has 13 different debts? None of it is used for investing. 13 different kinds of debt, 13 separate accounts of debt. None of it is used to make money. Let's show you, if you're wondering, if you want to take the red pill today, let's just see how you can take that debt and turn it into wealth. I can show you how to. So Brandon said, take the blue pill and put it in the trash. Okay. So listen, I don't want to stay where I am. Okay. I don't want to stay where I am. I'm going to take the red pill and learn how to do this thing correctly. So Dawn, if we can take the 13 different kinds of debt for the average family, okay, and take that debt that was not designed for making money. It wasn't designed for investing. Let's see how we can take that debt and turn it into a wealth building machine, even though that wasn't its original purpose. How does that sound?
I love it.
Listen, that's why you're here. That's why you're here to kind of guide the conversation. So, folks, we have 3 shares. We have 10 people in here right now. 18 people have come through. I would like it if at least 250 people come through, and we eventually have over 100 people on stage. But the only way that's going to happen is if you will share what you have. All right, and we have somebody from LinkedIn. And that says, I have my home. How can I pay it off faster your way? I'm using the MMA. All right. So let me tell you, Miss Cheryl, you can. I've talked to people who are using MMA. All right. And I use it myself. But the way we set it up in the P.I.L.L method, it's all in the setup. So if you want to continue to use the MMA, you want to get a consultation, all right? And we'll give you a consultation at a discount. So it's going to be $150. Contact us at at Don, the number 10, the letter K.com, don10k.com. And most of the time when people bring me their situation, within a half hour, I'll set up your current situation so that we're going to knock about 2 years off your MMA and save you at least another $30,000 in interest. So, and if I can't save you any money, if I can't set it up any better, then I'll refund the $150. All right. So that $150 is going to save you at least 30 grand. Okay. So if I can't save you any money, if I can't save you at least the cost of the consultation, I'll just give it back. All right. So Cheryl, what do you think? So I'd love to be able to take a look at your program and see how I can set it up, all right, differently. And that's what I do for a lot of people who have that particular computer program. It is very powerful. Let me see what we can do with it. Thank you very much for your comment today. All right. It says, I want to move to West Coast and rent my house. Oh my goodness. Yes, you definitely want to talk to us. All right. But thank you for logging in, Miss Cheryl, from LinkedIn. So we got folks here from LinkedIn, Dawn. We have folks here from YouTube. YouTube is in the house. LinkedIn is in the house. We have Clubhouse already here, and they want to know more about the red pill and the blue pill. So Dawn, tell me, when you started on this journey of discovering of using debt, was there how did you approach it at first? Traditionally, or did you approach it with the mind, I want to do it in a better or different way?
Oh, I came out of the womb. I want to do it in a better way. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Really?
No. Well, you know what? Here's the deal. I think I did think that. I didn't know how. And so my mindset was I want to do it in a better way. The action I took was just like everybody else, I think, where you see credit. Everybody tells you get a credit card when you're younger. And then I had the credit cards. I just saw my mom bringing packages all the time. My mom was a great spender, a great spender. And but then I read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Other People's Money, right? And so when that was in the early 2000s, and the money was about using other people's money, using debt, basically keep your money in your account and use other people's money is how I learned but then it ended up being, and I thought I was never one that couldn't make their minimum payments or was never been late in however long, probably 20 something years. I don't have a late pay. And so I thought I was doing it right, Dawn. I bought my rental property. My first, it was a primary. It turned into a rental property. I had the savings. I was doing the 401k. But here's the deal. What my experience was, I made more money than most of the people in my family. And so I helped out a lot. I call it being Robin Hood of the hood. That was what I did, out of obligation. And some of it was just kind of, family dynamics. The other part was I felt I was on track for everything else. And I'm just going to coast to retirement at 62. So what do I do with my money in the meantime? I'm doing everything right. And I had no purpose for my money. And like I said, it wasn't until I got a bad boss. I hated going to work. Either I was going to quit or she was going to try to get me fired. And what was I going to do is really when I woke up to say, I am leveraged to the gills. And if I lost my job today, I could potentially lose a lot more. I could lose my rental properties. And how am I going to manage all of this? So yeah, that was the wake up call for me. And I don't think most of us really have that wake up call until we're starting to take in water. And when I say take in water, I mean stuff is starting to be late, or you're paying your bills, but deep inside, if the car gets in an accident or something breaks down majorly, you're trying to figure out how am I going to pay for it because now my credit cards are getting tight and there's not much room. I think that's when people start to wake up, or they're getting close to retirement and realize they don't have a plan for the rest of their life.
So what did you do? What did you do to tell us some of the ways that you researched to get a better handle on that? Because obviously there was something going on that said, I got this thing, but it's got to be a better or different way to look at it.
Yes,
What
yes.
did you
So that's what
research?
So when I first started looking, I looked at whether I wanted to do loan consolidation. I didn't want to do the debt thing because that shows up as it's a negative, and I didn't have issues with making my minimum payments. So it was like at first I had to look at how much I was actually spending, what my income is minus my expenses, and at that time I was $1,300 over, even if I still had my full income. So then knew I had to cut back at least 1,300. And then I looked at what is my guaranteed income if I don't have a job? What is the minimum things that I have to pay? And then it was like, let's say it was $4,000, right? And so I was like, okay, what do I need to do to be able to get into this $4,000 range? So once I understood that, then I looked at debt consolidation. I looked at or loan consolidation. I looked at how to pay it off. But I realized it was my habits. So a lot of that, I needed some structure because I felt like if I had done like, you consolidate your loan from a bank, and I had done that before, and I always run it back up. So I had to figure out, that's because I never had habits to do that. So, I found Dave Ramsey. He was like the debt guy. And so, and he's made the snowball popular. So most of mine initially, I started out with the snowball and then just made tweaks that it fit because he was a bit extreme for me in a lot of ways. But that's really what I did. I was how to pay off debt fast. That's when I found the snowball versus the avalanche, loan consolidation, and then again looking at my habits. So those were the steps that I looked at.
Listen, let's talk about that a minute, folks. If you have any experience in any of this, you can put it in the chat or raise your hand, come to the stage. So far we have people that we've heard about debt consolidation. If you've heard about debt consolidation and you've thought about using it or you have used it, put a number 1 in the chat. If you've heard about or used debt consolidation before? Put a number 1 in the chat. Okay. And you also mentioned, Dawn, about Dave Ramsey and the debt snowball. Okay. Now, did does Dave Ramsey's information actually work? That's the first question.
Yes, it does.
It does. It does. It does. So we are never going to say that Dave Ramsey's information does not work. Okay. It absolutely works. He's been doing this a very, very long time. And Mr. Ramsey, respect to you. I mean, you got this thing rolling, and people are a lot better off because of the work you and um, your company has done, and the people that are on board with you. Okay, so that we want to make sure that we get out there. But folks, if you've seen like the debt snowball or the if you're satisfied with that, great. Or the avalanche method, if you're satisfied with that, great. We're only talking to people today who are thinking there must be something different. If they're and they've tried the debt consolidation, they've tried this, they've tried that, they tried the other thing. Right now, you're searching for a better way. Let me tell you something a little bit about who we are. Okay, I founded the P.I.L.L method about 16 years ago. P.I.L.L stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. Why did I focus there? How did that come into being? Because when I look at an amortization schedule, I see something different because of my Asperger's, because I'm autistic. So I see things in pictures and patterns. So when I see an amortization schedule and how we are taught to pay back our loans, I'm saying, oh my goodness, if we do this way, we're going to pay a lot more interest than we need to pay. We could do some things differently and not pay that. Something was telling me, Dawn, that there's got to be a better way. So now, and I've been doing this now since I started the business in 2006 and start teaching these basic concepts. Folks, since 2006, we've learned more and more and more and more about how lending is traditionally practiced, how bank products actually work, and how the current strategies, even though they save you some interest, are woefully inadequate because they are not efficient, meaning to get out of debt, you're still paying way more interest than you need to, like 50% more, 75% more interest than you need to pay because of how it is set up. And for all of you that are out there right now that are saying to yourself, there's something not quite right with the system, or there's something I don't understand about the system, there's something I need to know, but I don't know, then this show is for you.
Hey,
Okay.
Don.
Yes.
The other part, let's talk about it, because that was just me trying to figure out. But what really, let me tell you what I always say, that's where the magic happened, is because I was trying to figure out how to reduce not just my debt, but my living expenses. Because I was like, why do you have to work to 62? Like, why do you have to do it that way? And with the FIRE movement, Financial Independence Retire Early, when I found that community, it was like, hey, if you reduce your expenses, increase your saving percentage, and you invest the difference, this is how you stop and how you make work optional. Well, they didn't make it. They didn't say work optional. That's my name. But they were like, this is how you retire early. And I was like, well, how in the world so then I started to try to figure out, how do I pay these mortgages off quickly? Because that was the main thing. Once my credit card debt was gone, because I didn't have a car payment anymore. Once that was gone, I still had a mortgage that I still had to pay. How do I get rid of that faster? That is what opened my eyes. That was when it's the red pill, right? That's when I really took the red pill. So I probably had a pink pill first, and then I took a red pill.
All right, so you are getting you are moving towards the red pill.
Yes, but I did not see the magic. Mm-hmm. And you'll always, when I love it when you go to the examples, because I always say that's where the magic happens.
All right, well, we're gonna take a look at something right now. So I'm going to get ready to put something on the screen, and we're going to take a look at a consolidation scenario, and we're going to go over that. And there are people that are using consolidation, and it saves them money, but for some reason, after they get into it, it's not doing exactly what they thought it would do. Let's find out why. Let's get into that just a little bit so that we can. I'm putting right now at my amortization schedule on the screen. And folks, if you want to see this, and you want to use a different device, then you would go to. Oh, you know what? I didn't put my link at the top of the page, so let me go ahead and do that and go to ice10k.com. I'm putting the link at the top of the page. All right. There we go. And add the link. All right. So if you go to that link there, all right, you can see where we are a button that has all of our social media links there. And you can watch us live. It says watch us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can watch us live, and we're putting this on the screen right now. And so let's take a look at. I'm going to put some numbers in here, Dawn. Let's take a look at 300,000. Okay. Oops. Way too many zeros in. Okay. 300,000. Okay. We got at let's do 5%. Okay. And we're going to take a look at that. So we've got 300,000 at 5%. We also have an additional $40,000 in other debt. That could be a car, that could be mortgage, that could be credit cards. And so we have some other debt that we're paying. Now, first of all, this family has about 13 different debts. That's number one. Number two, they're doing quite well financially. In fact, when it's all said and done, they're a lot better off than most families in America today. This family right here, okay, because they're doing extremely well. All right. But when they take a look at their debt and they say, well, there's something going on here that's not quite right. What can we do to take a look at this thing? How the traditional way, the blue pill way, all right, the way that is being done right now, as opposed to what we can do when we take the red pill and find out there is a better way. Can we take a look at that, Dawn? All right. So here's what we're doing. So we have here's the mortgage payment is $1,610.46. That has to do that. What we're pointing out here is the principal and interest payment. Okay. So, and so we're taking a look at the payment here of $360.46 in principal on the very first payment, $1,250 in interest. That is a lot of money. Okay. So first of all, folks, this is the most inefficient way to handle your money on the planet. What do I mean by inefficient? So when I produce some energy, all right, when I do something, I want to make sure that whatever effort I'm putting out, I'm getting a lot of benefit for the effort I'm putting out. Okay. So if you're burning a lot of calories, okay, if you're burning a lot of calories, and on your treadmill, okay, and you're on your treadmill and listen, you're running for 3 hours, all right, on a treadmill, and you're burning a lot of calories. But your purpose was to actually run from one side of town to the other, but you're on the treadmill. Now, you're putting in a lot of effort, but you're not getting the benefit out of it. You're not getting to where you want it to go. You actually wanted to go from one place to another, but you're in the same place doing a lot of effort. So what we're talking about is how can I take what I have and get a lot of benefit out of it? You know, what if I bought a new car, Dawn? I bought a new car. It has a 17-gallon gas tank, all right? But I'm only getting 5 miles to the gallon. All right. Got a new car, but 5 miles to the gallon. Is that inefficient? Where a lot of cars today are getting 30 miles to the gallon or better.
Now, Dawn,
Yeah.
you know I'm a Prius lover, so of course I think it's inefficient. Anything below 47 miles to the gallon is inefficient for me.
Okay. So what you're looking at is efficiency. How can I get more miles out of my gallon of gas? All right.
Yes.
All right. So
I like it, by the way.
What now?
I like this analogy.
Okay.
Because it helps people see it. Sometimes we talk about money or, you know, finances up in the sky, pie in the sky, but I really appreciate your analogies when you bring them down. Well, a lot of them you do, so people can understand it and relate to them in their everyday lives. So
okay. Well, thank you, Dawn. So we've got a payment of $1,610.46. That is my payment. I can afford that payment. That is my mortgage payment. Or is it? Let's take a look at mortgage. Mortgage really refers to the money I borrowed and you're paying back. Okay. So when I look at the principal and I look at the interest, what part of that is the money I borrowed, Dawn? The principal or the interest?
The principal.
Okay, so I borrowed the principal. So if I'm really talking about the mortgage payment, isn't the mortgage payment actually the $360, but the $1,250 technically is not mortgage payment?
That is correct.
Because the $1,250 does not go towards my mortgage.
No, it goes in the bank's pocket.
It goes in the bank's pocket. It goes to the mortgage company, but not to my mortgage. So here's what I'm saying. Here's how inefficient it is. I'm going to put a calculator on the screen. Okay. And then we're going to do a little bit of math here. I'm in the wrong spot. Okay. Calculator on the screen. All right. So my payment. All right. So I have, and my first interest payment is $1,250. All right. And I'm going to divide that by my regular mortgage payment, my entire mortgage payment. So when I divide it by 1610.46, here's my number. 77%. 77, almost 78% of my mortgage payment goes to interest. That's it. 78%. Okay. So if I have 100% payment, okay, I got 78%. So I'm gonna do a little bit of math here. So I got 100. So I got, let's see, that's 2, and that's 9. Okay, 22. Okay. So out of this payment, Dawn, this is how inefficient this is. 22% of my money goes actually to pay down my debt. That's inefficient, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's break it down even further. So we can actually break this down to the dollars that you use to pay back your debt. So out of every dollar you're putting on your mortgage, 78 cents of that dollar goes to the bank in interest. 22 cents out of the dollar pays off your home. How inefficient is that? Okay.
By driving the big one of those big trucks.
Okay. All right. So you said, well, I don't want to get that kind of gas mileage. I want to get, what did you say, Dawn? 48 miles to the gallon?
47.
You said, well, okay, 47. 47. All right. So yeah, Dawn, you want to turn down. Okay, you're looking at the thank you for looking at this, but you want to turn down the volume.
Yeah, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So here's what so since you're looking at it, okay, since you're looking at it, so let's just say I've got an additional, what did I say, $40,000 in other debt. All right. So let's just say I'm into this thing 5 years. I'm going to go down and 5 years and that's 60 payments. Okay. I've paid down this mortgage by $24,513.47. Dawn, how much interest have I paid in 5 years? Can you see that yet?
No, I can't see it yet. Let's go down a little bit more.
Okay, it's scrolling. Yeah.
2 seconds delay.
Yeah, there's a few seconds delay. So I've got it highlighted.
Okay.
Line
now
60.
I can see. Wait, you went too far.
Yeah. Line 60.
Okay.
How much interest do I pay there?
Principal or interest?
Interest.
$72,114.13.
All right. So I paid my mortgage. Okay. My money that went to my mortgage payment. $24,000. But I paid $72,000 in interest. Okay. When you add it together, all right. So I paid down my loan by $24,000. So let's go ahead and add this up. I got $24,513.47. That's the money that went to me. That's my equity. All right. But I had to pay interest to get that equity. All right. So that's $72,114.13. That is a total, Dawn. I've paid out $96,627.60 in 5 years. 96 grand. Out of my 96 grand, how much went to me? $24,000, $24,500. How inefficient is to pay almost $100,000 and only get like $25,000 out of this thing? Wow, for you. What are we going to do about that? So when I started looking at that, Dawn, something in me said, there's something wrong with that system. I don't know about anybody else that's on stage right now. Okay. Do you believe, if you believe there's something wrong with this, if you believe that there's something in the back of your mind that just says the way we're doing it, even when I get the best information, the way that I'm doing this still seems off. It still seems wrong. Put a number 9 in the chat. If you want to know, if you said this seems off, there's got to be a better way. Put a number 9 in the chat if that's you, because not everybody's looking for a better way. All right. I only want to talk to people who are looking for a better way. That's it. And if you're not looking for a better way, Tamara says she's looking for a better way from not Facebook, but YouTube. Okay, she's on YouTube. And we've got Jonathan here. All right, he's looking for a better way. Not everybody's looking for a better way. All right, they're satisfied with that. I'm not. Here's what I'm not doing. All right, Lena says she's looking for a better way. Here's what I'm not doing. I'm not trying to make people who are satisfied with what they're doing dissatisfied with what they're doing and to change. I'm not doing that. I only want to talk to people who are looking at their situation and wondering if there is a better way, and how can we give them the red pill? Because see, we have 2 pills. The red pill leads you into maybe some uncomfortable but valuable knowledge. The blue pill allows you to stay in your comfort zone and keep doing what you've always done. All right. So out of the people that are on stage and online right now, all right, we have a few people who said, you know what? Yeah, there's something up with this. It's got to be a better way. So I'm only talking to them. Everybody else is everybody else is just kind of hanging out and curious, and that's okay. All right. So here's where we are. I've got this thing. I owe now on this loan $275,000. 275,000. And now I want to roll. I found out a secret place, Dawn. I found out a secret place where I can get a not a 5% loan, but there's a secret place out there where I can get 3.5%. 3.5%. I'm gonna refi this and see if I can get 3.5%. Could you hold on for a second, please? All right. I had my heater on and I'm smelling some smoke. So if that smoke that I'm smelling, folks, is not coming from my heater, because I just turned it off, it's coming from someplace else in my office building. And we're going to have to put up a sign that says, "We'll be right back," and play some music. Because I got to go check this out. All right. So, all right. That smell is getting stronger. Kurt, can I got to go check this out. Dawn, if you have something you can say about where we're going, great. But we're going to take me off camera and I'm going to check this out. I will be right back.
All right, we got you, Dawn. Kurt, are you gonna play the video or anything? All right, so in the meantime, while we're waiting on either Dawn to come back or Kurt might put up the hip hop preacher ET's thing, we'll just chit chat. Anybody have any questions on? I think there was a couple people said they wanted to looking for a better way. And is it in mortgage? What is specifically are you looking for?
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, "Oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money?" I was like, "I don't know, forever." She's like, "You sure?" Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, "You ain't gotta do that, you can do this." But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Let's put that back up on the screen. All right, I had to check out because sometimes I was smelling smoke. If listen, folks, if you've read my book, you know that that I was a firefighter for 17 years. So when I smell smoke, you know, I got to get moving. I got to figure out what's really going on, and I'm not taking I'm not taking any chances. Okay, all right. So, you know, so we had to get that checked out. So as far as I could tell, my building is not on fire, but I did have that smoke smell. But anyway, all right, let's get back on the screen, and then we're going to do a little break and do an update here. So here we are, folks. So I put down we are 60 months into this thing. We paid the loan down by $24,000, and here's how much we owe now: $275,000. All right, 275,000, 486. So we're going to copy that. We're going to pull up a brand new Brett Whistle here. We're going to put that into what we owe now. Okay, we're going to paste that, take out the comma. All right. All right, got to take that comma out. And we're now going to get a 3.5% loan. Okay, we're at 3.5% for 30 years, but we're going to roll in. We're going to roll in about $40,000 in debt. $40,000 in high interest debt. Okay, so some of this, there's no debt in here that I'm putting in less than 10%. Okay, it's like 10%. We got 15%. We got some credit cards that are over 20%. We got all of that going on here. Okay, so we've got all of that. So we're going to put on our calculator. Okay, all right. So we have 275,486.53 plus another $40,000 in debt. Okay, plus 40,000 there equals, okay, now we're at 315,486.53. Okay, 315,000. So we rolled all of that debt into our mortgage now. All right, we got all of that debt into a mortgage. So Cheryl said it's not live. Okay, listen, Cheryl, if give us a call anyway, Cheryl, and let's see how we can get you going here, because if you're not using it, that's one thing, but you still may have access to it. Let's figure that out first, and then we'll go from there. But we'll help you every step of the way to get you to the position where you wanted to be, living in your new home and renting out your old home. We'll help you with that, I promise. So give us a call. Let's get you set up. All right, so we got 315,486. So let me put that in here. Okay, 315,486. Okay, and 53 cents. Okay, 0.53. Now here is our new payment. Okay, our new payment is $1,416.68. So let's compare that to our old payment. All right, our old payment was $1,610. Okay, so here's what we've got. 1,416 is less than my old payment of $1,610. So that's number one. So Dawn, are you seeing that our mortgage payment now is less than it was before, even though I rolled $40,000 worth of debt in? Okay, yeah. That's number one. Number two, when I add up all of that, money, all of the debt that I had before, just the minimum payments alone on that other 40,000 was coming to about $1,000. Okay, $1,000. So now I don't have those payments anymore. Okay. All right. So now it's not so I don't have that $1,000, plus my payment on my mortgage is now less. All right. So that's how a refinance to do debt consolidation in your mortgage is taught. So let me show you what's really happening with this thing. All right. So now you're paying back $40,000 worth of debt to get back down to, okay, remember, here's where you were when you refinanced. You were at $275,486.53 when you refinanced. You already paid $72,000 in interest to get there. You are already 5 years into this mortgage, and now you got a brand new 30-year mortgage, which means, as far as mortgages are concerned, you have now a 35-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage. Is that a good way of looking at it, Dawn?
I love it. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you go from 30, you just went to a 35-year mortgage. All right. Your payment is smaller, but you've gotten rid of $1,000 worth of payments on consumer debt, got rid of $1,000 worth, and you brought down your payment on your mortgage, and you feel better about it. Okay. If you didn't feel better about it, you wouldn't be doing this. All right. But as you start to pay this thing down, all right, there's something about it after you get into it a few months, something still isn't right. If you've had this experience, put a number 7 in the chat. You've done you've done a consolidation. You thought it was the best thing since sliced bread because I mean your payments are less. You got rid of all these other consumer debt payments, and your mortgage payment was less. You've got a great interest rate now, but you're into it a few months and it just doesn't seem right. Put a number 7 in the chat if you've ever been there. All right, put a number 7 in. If you've done a consolidation and it just wasn't doing what you needed it to do. All right, you noticed that there was something off. All right, so now here's what we're going to take a look at. Watch this. Let's go to the next. So to get back down to 278,000. Okay, I've got to pay off the 40 grand that I just rolled into this loan. Let's start paying that back. All right, let's take it by the year. So I am now paying back $6,000 of the $40,000 I just rolled in to my mortgage. Dawn, I need you to help me out here. I just paid off $6,000, all right, of my new situation, all right? And you know I have to pay back the $40,000 I rolled in just to get back down to the $278,000 I was before I refinanced. How much interest have I paid on that debt now in the first year? Can you see it?
Yeah, the interest is the 10,945.
Exactly. So, folks, I've just paid back of the high interest debt that I rolled into this mortgage. I just paid back $6,000 of it, but I paid nearly $11,000 in interest. Okay, I paid off $6,000, but I paid off nearly $11,000 in interest. Do you realize that when you pay back, okay, when you pay back $6,000 and you pay $6,000 in interest, Dawn, what interest rate is that?
It wasn't the magic 3% that you were talking about.
So if you borrow $1 from me, Dawn, and I say, Dawn, yeah, I'll lend you $1. Pay me back $2 tomorrow. What interest rate am I asking for?
100.
100%. 100%. So if I borrow $6,000 and I pay that back plus another $6,000 in interest, Dawn, what is that real interest rate?
100.
100%. But if I pay $4,000 more on top of that, isn't that like 140%?
I was going to say, now you're really working me over the coals. Yes, 140%.
About 140%. I just rolled into this loan, high interest debt, and somebody told me because I did that, I'm going to be saving money. But I just got tricked in. This is somebody with perfect credit who is now paying 140% interest on the debt they rolled into this loan. I'm not going to mince words on this thing. We're going to go down to cumulative principal here. Okay. We're going to go down to $40,000 right there to pay off the first $40,000. Okay. It's going to take, that's 5 years. That's 6 years. Okay. 6 years and 1 month, 6 years and 1 month to pay off the $40,000 to get me back down to where I was before, around $276,000. Okay. I paid off the $40,000. How much interest did I just pay on that? When it stopped scrolling, Dawn, if you can see it.
Yeah.
I'm on line 73.
That was the interest is the $63,000,
yeah,
right?
Right.
That was $63,089.89.
Okay, so Dawn, I just rolled in $40,000 into this loan. I just rolled in 40,000 because my interest, I had high interest loans between 10 and 27%. I threw all of that into the mortgage because I was thinking it was at 3.5%. The reason why it doesn't feel right to you, the reason why you feel that you're in the matrix and you need to take the red pill, people, is because of this. That $40,000 you're paying back, you're not paying back at 3.5%. It's actually costing you a 40,000 plus another. That's 120% interest on the $40,000 loan. So you just took 15% interest and turned it into 120% interest on that $40,000 worth of debt. When you consolidate it into your mortgage like this. Whoo. Listen, folks, the red pill, we're going to see how far down this rabbit hole, how far into the rabbit hole goes. How far does the rabbit hole go when you take the red pill and learn what's really going on? Or do you want to take the blue pill and stay right where you are and manage your finances the way we've always been taught? Dawn, what do you have to say about this?
I think for me, this is where the awakening happens. We've done so many things the way that we've been taught, or we've heard somebody explain something. But when you actually sit there and look at the math, it takes a little while to get, but you'll see there's something different about this. There is a better way. And then once you grasp onto that, I always keep saying that's where the magic happens. It just takes a different frame of reference or point of reference or explanation to help you just say, get curious. Or if at least if you're just curious at this point, I think they should reach out to you.
Okay.
If you're just curious and say, you know what, these other people on Clubhouse are talking, nobody's showing numbers, nobody's telling me all the details where I could see it for myself, I might just need to call Dawn and see if this thing might work for me. Just curious.
Listen, folks, if you've heard, based on what you've heard so far, if you have any questions you want to raise your hand and come to the stage and talk about it, all right, please do that. Or put your question in the chat, or if you're online, you can put your question in the comment section, just like Kevin Long did, who is tuning in from Huntsville, Alabama. All right. And he's watching us on YouTube. Okay. And he's saying, why do financial experts tell us to refinance? Do they benefit from that? Okay. Here's what we're saying, folks. Financial experts tell us to refinance in this way because they believe it's the right thing to do. They're firmly entrenched in the money matrix. Okay, so in the movie, the computers had taken over everything. All right, the computers had taken over everything, and they were using human beings as the energy source, taking the electricities that's produced by human beings to run their world now, because computers have taken over. Okay, so what they're doing is they're hooking all the people up to computers, making them think that they're actually living their best life. Okay, so they're in little pods. They've turned them into batteries, but because of the computer program that's running in their heads, they think they're actually living a whole life. Okay, they actually think they're living a whole life. So I'm telling you this, that most people who are talking about refinancing in this way really do believe that this is the right thing to do. Why is that? Because they have not been taught how an amortization schedule really works. Folks, this is the epitome of the money matrix, the way loans are taught today. We think we're doing the best thing possible because of what we've been taught and how to handle it. So we're going to come back in just a couple of minutes here. So folks, listen, you are right now, you're in the P.I.L.L Method Club. My name is Don Daniel, founder of the P.I.L Method Club, and I own the business, the P.I.L Method, a better way to eliminate debt. All right. And if you want to know more about this, follow our club. All right. We're here 3 days a week. We're here Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then we're going over valuable information about finances. Okay. And today we're talking about, are you looking for a better way to handle debt? Do you want to take the red pill and do something about it? Or take the blue pill and continue to do what you've always done? So, folks, I listen. We talked to somebody who is an expert in motivation about debt and all of this, and that person took advantage of this thing. All right. Listen, you're talking about red pill, blue pill, doing something new and better as opposed to the status quo. Oh man, this guy, he's always talking about how to level up. And his name is Dr. Eric Thomas. And he is the number one motivational speaker in the entire world. Let's hear what Dr. Eric Thomas has to say about the P.I.L Method. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the number one motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L Method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. Well, one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to pillmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the month, day, and year you're going to be debt free and how much interest you can save, just like our break said, go to ice10k.com, the link right above your heads. All right, click the link, and there's a button that says "Get a Savings and Earnings Report." You can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free and how much interest you can save. Well, Don, how much does that cost? Oh, that's the best part. It is a net zero cost to you. Net zero cost. What do you mean? A net zero cost means the interest that you would have paid the bank, part of that pays for the program. And we're going to cut your interest cost by a total of about 75%. A very small percentage of that interest savings pays for your program. So the money is actually coming from money the bank is no longer going to receive. That means a net zero cost to you. How do you like those apples? You get a program, a lifetime program that's going to cut your interest cost by about 75%, pay off all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years, and get the bank to pay for it. You can't get a better deal than that. Plus, it has a lifetime guarantee. It has to work. We're going to guarantee your results if you follow our program. I will guarantee your results. If the results that we claim for you, we cannot produce for you, I'll just give you your money back. And folks, in 16 years, we've always managed to do what we said we were going to do. In fact, we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau with no complaints. How about that? All right. Anyway, folks, so listen, also, you want to get my book. The only book on Amazon that talks about what we're talking about today, that gives you some insight into what's really going on with mortgages and other debt. It's this book, The P.I.L.L Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt. And do you know where we got that subtitle from, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt? Every single client of ours, every single one, okay, every single one has said something similar. We were looking for, or hoping for, or praying for a better way to handle our debt. And they found us. And we only talk to people who are dissatisfied with what they're doing now. There's something not quite right with it. And they took the red pill and discovered that after working through the discomfort of change, they said, this is the best change that we could ever have hoped for. I'm telling you, folks, I love what I do because we're change makers. Why do I love what I do? Because you deserve, those of you who are looking for a better way, you deserve a better way. We exist for telling people the truth about what's really going on with their finances. Let's get out of the money matrix. Let's stop being inefficient with our money. Let's do what we can do to make sure we pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible to pay off our loans and take that money we were paying in interest and invest that money into our families, creating generational wealth. Dawn, is it possible that a person working a W-2 job can become a millionaire working for somebody else? Is it possible?
Absolutely, it's possible.
How do you know?
I am the W-2 millionaire. And that's what I love, Dawn. I love that you don't have to do all this fancy stuff. You just got to do a few things right. And you can like make a whole lot of mistakes like I did and still end up rich. So I love it.
All right, well, Dawn, give us a little background on what you did when you thought, when you said, there's something not quite right here, but you took the red pill, all right, and did something different and became a millionaire. Give us a little hint about what you did, will you?
Well, you know, the first thing I told you is I eliminated my consumer debt. I had to get my spending habits together in a way that I still could not have to eat beans and rice, right? And I could still have a great lifestyle. And then once I did consumer debt, I eliminated the mortgages. You know, I think at that time we only had 4 houses. So we only had the condo in Hawaii's mortgage. Everything else was free and clear. And so that was the main thing. And it's once you find the system to be able to apply the cash flow, the difference between what you make and what you spend in an efficient manner, this is where the magic happens. You could take that cash flow, you could take that money, you can use it and learn how to apply it strategically to your mortgages, or you can choose to continue to invest in your 401k. I choose not. I did not. I stopped maxing and I shifted my money somewhere else to my mortgages because I felt that was going to give me back the most freedom for me. So that's what I did, Dawn. Thanks for asking.
And by doing that, you were able to amass some what is it? Net worth through real estate.
Yes, because what happens is what you own minus what you owe. Right? So what you own minus what you owe is how your net worth is calculated. So by me being able to, one, pay down those mortgages, pay them off, And so I hit the million at 44. Was that 2 years ago? And now it's gone up, right? So it's gone up above that. And that's only in my real estate portfolio. That's not including what's in 401k in the stock market. So that's what really happened. It was just simple decisions, understanding how to apply the money to principal in a strategic way based on, and I love the way that you teach it when the software tells you exactly what to do. Once you understand that, it's a no-brainer. It's almost automatic. You become an automatic millionaire. Maybe you should do a show on that too, Don.
Yeah, I think we should. Well, I think we should do a show on how to become a W-2 millionaire. Ooh, that's it. How? I'm writing it down. How to become, all right, a W-2.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I think it's also important, especially for people over 40. And I say that because most of us don't have as much time to be in the stock market as much as we would. Now, Don's going to disagree, but that's where we kind of split ways sometimes. You'll see that. But I think if you don't have a mortgage, if you don't have the car payment, if you don't have those things, then you may or may not need $1 million, because sometimes $1 million is too far for us to really believe that we can do. But with $500,000, like, let you have a different life. What do you need to not have to work? What do you need to have paid off that will help you transition into retirement sooner or better? And Dawn, I think that's one of the key things for me. If you don't have a mortgage at 55, then you don't have to take all these risks to try to, not overfund, but max out your 401k, because you still got to have time in the market for it to grow. And 10 years is not a whole lot of time in the market. It's some, but you might be able to maneuver your retirement plan a little differently, alleviating your mortgage.
That made me think about people who are pastors, or they're in work that is supposed to be helpful to other people. All right. So we got pastors out there. We got people in religious work. They don't make a lot of money. Okay. But they still need a place to live. They still need a place to raise their families. And what we're doing, folks, is that even if you're in religious work, a pastor, especially if you move a lot, all right, you can retire without a mortgage. And some of these people who are in religious work put their kids in private school. And sometimes they have to choose between funding their retirement and funding their kids' education. I'm here to tell you, by taking the red pill, you don't have to choose. You can do both, even on the salary you're already making. I'm working with some pastors right now that are setting themselves up perfectly with what they're already making, because they're learning a new way of going about this thing. So listen, folks, if you got a question, come up to the stage. We need your input on this thing, especially if you're thinking that there's got to be a different way to look at this thing. The situation that you're in, it could be valuable not only to you to talk about, but maybe to someone else. So there's no stingy energy here. So raise your hand, come to the stage, okay? Or put your question or comment in the chat, and we would love to talk to it. So we have somebody here on YouTube, Brandon, who says, I just got my book. He says, I cannot wait to read it. So Brandon, do me a favor. Also, when you read the book, will you please review the book on Amazon? And everybody out here that's watching me online or on Club, or you're in Clubhouse right now, if you have my book and you like the book, do me a favor and do a review for the book. All right, 5-star. Okay, did I just say that? Did I say that out loud? Anyway, if you have the book, go ahead and review the book for me, would you please? I would appreciate that very much, because people, they like to read reviews. If you're on my program, All right. If you're already on my program, I'm going to ask you to go on Facebook, our Facebook page, and Better Business Bureau, and review our program. Okay, fine. Do just search us in the Better Business Bureau. Go to the BBB, do a quick search. You can also find a link on my website at pillmethod.com to the Better Business Bureau. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. All right, and that's our link to the Better Business Bureau. Click on that and review our program, the entire Pill Method program. You can review it there, and you can also go to Amazon and review our book. I would appreciate that very, very much. Dawn, do you have any other insights into your transition from doing things the old way into the new way? What else did you discover?
What I want to say first is that most people think that the transition from where they are to where they really want to be is this huge jump, and it's not. But what I can't, and they're always concerned about, oh, I don't want to cut back, I'll just worry about it later. But how many people remember when they graduated from high school?
Barely.
I was right. I was like, but it seems very close to yesterday. It doesn't seem as long. I'm coming up on 30 years, my 30-year high school reunion, and it doesn't seem like it was 30 years ago. And then I also think about all the shoes. I'm looking at my closet now. I'm looking at all the shoes and all the clothes and all the money and all the things I've spent along the way, and how some of that really has robbed me. I could have been a multi-millionaire by now if I had just done some small changes. But you weren't around, and a lot of other people that, I've learned from weren't around then, right? So this was a very lonely road. So let me tell you how you can see, do I need to do something different? So let's pretend you've only been working 10 years. Do you have you saved at least $2,000 for every year of those last 10 years? Let's just do 10 years. So do you have $20,000 cash? Do you think about, and if you don't, how much do you have in your bank account now, and how long could that last? Now think about if you didn't have your mortgage payment. If you had $10,000 and you no longer have your $1,500 mortgage payment a month, how much more do you need if you didn't have income? So these are just kind of things like, what would I need if I didn't have to pay my mortgage, if I didn't have to pay for my car payment? This is money that could go back in my pocket, and then that will reduce the amount of money if something happens, God forbid, or it allows me to reduce the time that I don't have to work to 62, that I don't have to work to 65. And if we're honest enough with ourselves, most of us don't have enough saved, and we likely will have to continue working until the job quits you or your body quits. And so that was what helped me, right? Who's coming to help me? Nobody. I had no person in my family to help me. Retirement or Social Security likely will not be paying out at the same amount that it pays out now. So what are the decisions that I need to make now to give me the life that I really want? And it was actually closer. I'm only 4 years out now from being zeroed out because we purchased 2 more homes. But those 2 will be done in 4 years. So I'm just saying, think about some of these small changes that you can make that really will get you the life that you want. Is what do you want now versus what do you want most? And the 62 to 65 is a lie. Those ages were set because most people were dying in their late 50s. They were not expecting us to live this long. So it's just a small shift.
Wow, Dawn. Thank you so much for that. We got 2 new people on the stage. We got Miss Coffee Brown here, and we have Mr. Anthony Edwards. Welcome to the Pill Method Club. All right, Miss Coffee, how are you doing this morning?
I am exceptional, Don. How are you, sir?
Listen, I am very, very, very good. All right, listen, what we're talking about today, Miss Coffee, is a better way. Are you looking for a better way to eliminate debt? And are you willing to take the red pill and learn the better, uncomfortable information to change? Or do you want to take the blue pill and stay right where you are? That's what we're talking about today. Do you have a comment on that?
You know, Don, I am a risk taker, so I'm always gonna take the red pill. And even if if I land on the moon instead of the star I was reaching for. I'm still good.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
Still good.
Thank you for that. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Who I am as a child of God, what I do is whatever it takes to win. That being said, you can look into my bio to find out what I do, how I do it, when I do it, all those good things, and see if there's something that I have that would be of value to you and your family. You know, when we come into this room, it's not about us, it is about obtaining the information so that we can regurgitate it. And when we regurgitate it and then we master it, we're able to share this wealth with generations to come. So as you're in the room, it's probably where we at. We have about 19 people here right now. We only have 10 shares. So that means that everyone hasn't taken the initiative to share the room. It's on all social media platforms. There's a wonderful arrow spacing in the middle down just next to the chat and by the scissor symbol where you can click on that. You don't have to say anything, but you can actually share. That helps with the algorithm and it helps with our room being pushed to the very top. So if you would not mind doing so by clicking that, it is called digital currency. And what happens, it means that you're adding value to someone else unselfish. You're being unselfish and you're giving someone else an opportunity to hear exactly what you're hearing so they too can be free. It's the Harriet Tubman concept. Share with someone so that they can experience the freedom that you're experiencing by being present in this room. I've shared it to a couple of different platforms, and we admonish and encourage you to share. If you choose not to share, the onus is on you. However, when you're in spaces like this, it is designed to add value to millions, upwards of billions of human beings. And so, unselfishly, go ahead and spread this wealth so that others can be blessed too. My name is Coach P. Coffee Brown. I am a certified master life coach. And of course, again, you can check my bio to find out more information about me. And always know that you can never have a good conversation without a great cup of coffee. So I yield my mic back to Don.
All right, Miss Coffee Brown. Listen, I want to publicly thank you at this time also because you went very public and sent my wife and I a gift. And we used that gift that you sent us via Cash App. We had a very nice lunch and we sent you the pictures. And I'm going to post those pictures on Instagram later today. So I want to thank you publicly for your public gesture. Thank you so much.
It's my honor. It is my honor. We'll continue to add value to you and the queen. Long live the king and the queen, most definitely. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
All right, Mr. Anthony, Mr. Anthony Edwards, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Don. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Hey, Don, first and foremost, I want to just thank you for creating and sharing this space. Don, like, there's a lot of information on Clubhouse, but for a specific group of people that are at a certain place, and it's a large group of people, the information you provide, I would argue, is at the top of the heap. It's like the creme de la creme. It's really some amazing stuff. And Don, one thing I gotta say is your integrity, your honesty, your humility. It's inspiring. You're definitely an inspiration. Super solid all the way around the board. Nice guy. I have nothing but the utmost respect for you, sir.
I do appreciate that. So, Anthony, if you would please, would you introduce yourself and then you can listen. You could take a little bit more time and tell us what you think about this topic. Are you looking for a better way to handle your debt? And the idea of the red pill and the blue pill. Come on and talk to us this morning after you introduce yourself.
Sure, sure. I'm Anthony Edwards. I'm a real estate investor based in Atlanta, Georgia. I currently have 12 short-term rentals, and I'm looking to expand that a little bit. I'm right now in contract with my first commercial deal. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way to actually kick the tires on the house and check it out. So hopefully I can employ the P.I.L.L method on my first commercial deal. In addition to that, I'm also a travel nurse. I'm on travel assignment in New York. I'm gonna catch a flight this evening back to New York, and that's what's going on with me. I love sharing the stage with my esteemed colleagues. I see Dawn in a bunch of rooms. I followed Dawn. She never followed me back. I'm heartbroken, but let me stop messing with her. Yeah, as far as the red pill, blue pill is concerned, I see huge benefits. When I initially started coming in Don's room, I was a little skeptical. And then I listened to him. I listened with an open mind, open heart, and I saw the huge benefits. And then when I actually asked him questions from an investor's point of view, like this is the cheat code. If you are an investor and you understand what he is saying, you are making money so passively and so fast that it's hard to compare with a lot of other stuff. You know, um, it's just something to consider, man. I'm a skeptical person by nature. So, it takes a lot to convince me. And honestly, like I said, I listened and I was super impressed.
Hey Anthony, this Dawn. Hey, as soon as you said that, I clicked the button and it says following you. So let me click and make sure. But I think I followed you first. I've been an Anthony fan for a minute. So let's see.
I was just messing with you. Honestly, it didn't appear that way on my side, but it's much to do about nothing. I don't care about all that stuff. Like, I appreciate the love and thank you for following me.
I'm just giving you a hard time. You know I love you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And Anthony, you brought up another aspect of the red pill, blue pill, because real estate investors have long overlooked how much interest they were actually paying to acquire their properties if they were using either bank financing or hard money financing. There is a way to save a ton of interest. In fact, two real estate investors came to me after hearing what I was talking about because they were wondering what they could do. And one of them actually read my book and gave me a call. Can you imagine giving me a call? This guy, you talk about business here in Huntsville, Alabama. If you mention his name, everybody knows who he is. All right. And he was calling me. In fact, when he called me, I thought somebody was pranking me. It was a prank until, he says, it's me. Okay. I said, okay, great. What can I do to help? He says, I read your book. All right. And how can I know that there's something going on? What do you do that can help me? All right. And so we've got some things on this. I've got some things on the screen right now. So if you're new to the room and you want to see these examples, if you're a real estate investor, like Anthony was talking about, if you're an investor, we're going to put some investment property on the screen so you can see what's going on behind the scenes. Okay. So I want to show you what if you want to take the red pill, if you're a real estate investor and you want to take the red pill, you want to do something different, then let's look at this right now. These real estate investors have done everything right. They bought the property right. And Anthony and Don, you would both say that you make money when you buy the property. Is that correct?
Don, I definitely agree, but I want to add this caveat.
Come on.
There's a lot of people on Clubhouse, and I understand that they're speaking to a specific demographic. So I'm not, I hate when people feel like there's only one right way. I'm never a proponent of that. So yes, you definitely make money when you buy, but that should not prevent you from utilizing the MLS, LoopNet, whatever. If you know your buy box, if you understand your buy box, then what you'll realize in certain cases, real estate is a lagging indicator. It doesn't move fast like the stock market. It's not a bunch of, buyers and sellers in the marketplace. It takes a long time to process a real estate transaction. So when you know your buy box and you understand what's going on, you might buy today, looking a year, 2, 4 years down the line. And if you're looking at that time frame, you are making money when you buy because you realize this asset is undervalued. Sorry to be so long.
Listen, man, people need to know. People need to know what we're talking about. They absolutely need to know. And we appreciate you for what you bring to the table. So, folks, here's what we're talking about. This real estate investor that we work with they are doing their thing. They bought it right. They're renting it right. But here's one thing that they did not pay attention to. Let me put this on the screen. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties here. And let me show you this. Now, each one of these properties are making money, each one. All right. So this particular mortgage, they've had it for 251 months, paid it down by $150,000, but it cost them $183,000 in interest. So Anthony, you tell me, most real estate investors in this case, they look at the amount of equity that they have, but traditionally, do they look at the amount of interest they pay to get that equity? Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay, great. So now here's another one. Here's another property. They've had this one for 157 months. Paid it down by $32,000 and paid $96,000 in interest. Here's another one. Paid this one down by $49,000, but paid $100,000 in interest. So all in all, folks, okay, they've paid out $1,179,038.45. This is how much money they've paid out. How much has actually gone to the mortgages out of that money? $415,846. Wow. That is a big deal. Okay. So now $1 million has gone out. Now remember, the tenants are paying this money. The tenants are paying it. Okay. And so now we've got this going on, and wow. Look at this. We've got how much do we have in benefit? 415,000. So how much have we paid in interest so far? Total interest paid $763,192.44. That is a lot of money. So now, when you are a real estate investor and you get your rent checks, how much of that money is yours when you receive that rent check? The answer is all of it. My question to you is, how much do you want to keep? Because right now, this real estate investor, even though they're making money, has paid out $763,000 of their money in interest. So here's what we've got. How much do we have left to pay? Okay. They still have in debt on these mortgages $1,292,000. That's how much they still owe. The bank wants another $651,000 interest on top of the $1.292 million. Well, we're going to show them how to only pay. Oh, plus it's going to take them 26 years to pay off the last one if they just make the minimum payment. So here's the thing. They can pay out only $236,000, saving $419,991, and pay everything off in 7.6 if they choose to, by understanding what's going on with how interest actually works. They knew something wasn't right. But now they're finding out what they can do about what is not right. Oh my goodness. Folks, is that you today? That's wondering, is there something you can do about what's going on with your finances? Oh my goodness. So look at that. So do you see that? Let me show you another one. All right. So if you've got a question or comment, Mr. Anthony, do you have a question or comment of what we just talked about? Because I'm getting ready to put another example on the screen.
Okay. So my question is, could you break down in practical terms, like how much extra did they pay a month to save that? I believe it was like 400 plus $1,000.
Okay, that is a very good question. That's a very good question. So the thing is, I can't break it down on this one because they didn't pay extra per month. What we're doing is we're taking a look at what's going on with their finances and seeing how can we take what's left over and apply it to the debt. Let me give you another example that broke this down in more detail. All right. So I am going to, let me see here. Let me see if I can find one that breaks it down in detail. All right. So detail. Where's my detailed one? I'm looking for it. One in detail. There we go. No, that's not in detail. I need one that talks about in detail. Let me do it. Let me do a search for it. Okay, hold on. And let's see if I can find one in detail here. Huh. Well, let me break it down. Let me break it down for you this way. Let me use an amortization schedule. All right, and then I'll give you an example. Okay, so we have to answer your question. I've got some notes here. I'm gonna put my notes in. Right, and there we go. Notes. So we're going to put some information in an amortization schedule, and then I'm going to give you a very good example of what you're talking about, of what you're asking for, Anthony. All right. And in this particular mortgage situation, all right, this mortgage is, let me see here. We're going to take this out. All right. And then we're going to put in a payment of $8,704. All right. 8,704. It is 300 months, and the interest rate is 5%. Okay. So that means that the mortgage is 1,488,906. So on this particular property, Anthony, there's actually two properties involved here, and both properties are cash flowing about $51,000 a month. But the payment on the mortgage for both of them comes to about $14,000 a month. You follow me so far? Okay. So, and if you're talking,
Got it.
okay, all right. So we're just looking at one of the mortgages. All right. So, like I said, we're cash flowing on both about 51,000, but this mortgage, this one is taking up $8,700 of paying on the mortgage. So it's making plenty of money. Now, here's what we're talking about. This guy told me, out of all the money that I have coming in, I want to reinvest most of it. Out of this, I'm putting about $6,000 a month away in my repair and maintenance fund out of the $51,000. The rest I want to put into reinvesting. I don't want to touch that. So I said, well, how much do you have in that repair and maintenance fund? Because the buildings were fairly new, and he has several buildings, but we're only talking about two of them. So he has about $100,000 in that repair and maintenance fund. So let's take a look at this mortgage, and I'll give you an example of what we're talking about. Okay. So on this particular mortgage, $2,500 goes to principal on the first payment, $6,000 goes to interest. So if you look at it for a year's worth of payments on this, of the $8,000, it's paid down by $30,699. That's how much we pay the principal down, by $30,699, but $73,000 goes to interest. Okay. So I showed him this example. I said, out of the $100,000 you have, we're going to continue to make just the regular monthly payment, Anthony. But out of the $100,000 that you have, could you borrow about $30,000 from yourself and still have about $70,000 in the bank? He says, well, yeah, I could do that. I said, if you wanted to, could you apply that money to, your mortgage principal? He says, yes. I said, if you applied $30,699 to this mortgage principal, do you realize you pay down 12 months of principal, and you save that $70,000 in interest that you never have to pay? So it's not how much are we paying extra every month, Anthony. We're looking at making the same payment every single month, but how can we use some dormant money that's sitting in the bank making like 1/10 of 1% and apply it to this loan? Does it make sense?
So we're paying in lump sums. We're dropping lump sums
Exactly.
onto our, wow.
Okay. All right. So now in 1 year, if I don't do that, I have paid. All right. We've paid. Now remember how much money he's making. He's making a lot of money on this, and we've paid out like $104,000 out in 1 year. Out of that $104,000, even though they're making good money, only a little over $30,000 went to principal. So now that you know the difference, Anthony, can you justify just making the minimum payments, even though you're cash flowing? Can you justify paying $100,000, $104,000 of your hard-earned money out just to get $30,000 in equity?
No, you can't. But here's my question, right?
Go right ahead.
When you pay that $30,000,
yeah,
how long does it take for the bank to recalculate your principal? How much you have left?
Instantly. Because at this,
Don, you're kidding, man. Don, you're really.
Listen, Anthony. When you pay your mortgage, all right, when you pay your mortgage and you get your statement back, the statement you get back says, here's how much you owe now, and here's how much money went to principal, right?
Yes, sir.
If you put any extra on, then they have to subtract that too. Now it's just a simple math problem.
But my question is, like, if I paid the extra $30,000,
yes,
let's say I owed $700,000,
right,
and I paid the extra $30,000. Now, do I owe $670,000?
Yes.
And you're saying because I owe $670,000,
yes,
it completely changes the amortization schedule.
Yes.
So that my net effect is that I'm saving thousands and thousands of dollars on my my interest payments.
Exactly, because to do it
understood. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, to do it the other way means that to pay it down by that same amount, naturally, you have to pay the interest that goes along with it.
So $30,000 would have that much of a profound effect on how much I save?
Well, here's what we're looking at. The total amount of interest on this loan is $1,122,000. You know that going in because you signed the contract, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So in the first year, if you make minimum payments, you've got principal payments of around $2,500. They go up to $2,600 in the first year, but you're paying about $6,000 in interest each month. Follow?
Got it.
At the end of 1 year, you pay this loan down by $30,000, but it costs $73,000 in interest. Because each time I make a payment in 1 year, I have to give them over $6,000 in interest. So what if I say, I don't want to give you the $30,000 over 12-month period? Let me give it to you in 1 month and subtract that from what I owe.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Thank you.
There you go. And now I don't have to pay that interest. It is that simple. And that is something that as real estate investors, we have overlooked for a long time. In fact, to swallow this red pill was so hard for some people, Anthony, was so hard that for some people, Lord have mercy, for some people, that not only did it was so hard for them to swallow it, is that they didn't believe me at all. You were skeptical. There were some people that downright told me that this was a lie. This was fugazi. This could not be real.
Yo, it's straight math though. It's straight math.
Yeah.
It's like when you look at how, front loaded the amortization table is, it's straight up math. What you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you do have diminishing returns, but it absolutely does make sense. And I'll be honest with you, I'm never looking to pay off a house completely. That's not, that's not something I'm considering. But I see tremendous value in what you're saying.
All right. So let me take a look at this. So now you bring up another point. Okay. Here's another red pill moment. Are you ready, Anthony?
You got me.
Okay. So on this particular loan, all right, and this particular loan, to pay it down by $100,000. Okay. Let's just take market conditions out of it. To pay it down by $100,000 to get $100,000 in equity, it takes about 38 months. Okay. What if I wanted to cash out, refi $100,000? All right. With all things being equal, I could do that, couldn't I? Oh, well, I can take out about 70% of it?
Yep.
Okay. So do you know how much interest you pay to pay it down by $100,000? $228,000 of your hard-earned money went to the bank just to pay this loan down by $100,000. That means you paid out over $330,000 just to get $100,000 in equity.
Got it.
Okay. So now if I want to cash out refi by using this method, so when I show this guy this information, and remember, he's putting $6,000 a month into his fund for repairs and maintenance. If he takes $30,000 out, knocks off a year's worth of payments, okay, gets $30,000 in equity almost for free. All right, he only have to pay 1 month's worth of interest to get it. All right, instead of 12. How long is it going to take him to put that $30,000 back into his repair fund at $6,000 a month? He said
5 months.
5 months. I said, in 5 months, could you do it again?
Yo, I see what you're saying, man. It's like no-brainer territory.
So you could get to that $100,000 or $200,000 much sooner at a much lower interest cost. Does it make sense?
All right, I'm coming to Alabama, man.
Listen, folks.
I'm coming to Alabama with mortgage statements and amortization tables, bro. We're gonna sit down and talk, bro.
Listen, you please come. Listen, we would love to have you to visit our offices here, and let's sit down and break some bread and do some numbers. But folks, you don't have to come all the way to Alabama. All right. If you want to know more about this, we are international. We do business on several continents and in 9 different countries. All right. And what we're doing is when we do it all over the internet. Okay. People watch these videos from all over the world. I love YouTube. All right. Right now, because what we do on YouTube, people call us from all over the world. And we're helping people right now in 9 different countries understand what's going on with amortization. And so many of you are now taking the red pill, getting that information. You're doing everything else right. And now real estate investors are even saying, you know what? If I can get to my $200,000 in equity much sooner and not pay, and not pay in this case, and not pay $400,000 in interest. Maybe it only cost me $100,000 in interest instead of $400,000 that the bank wants. Well, now I can still have my equity and I can get it sooner as opposed to later. Wow, wow, wow. That's what we're talking about here. All right. And once we understand that, folks, once we understand that, you don't have to be right here in Huntsville. You can get a savings and earnings report by going online. I got my 10K card up here, and you can click on that and you'll see get a savings and earnings report. Put all your information in there and find out the month, day, and year you could be debt free. What? That's right. That's right. Get the day, month, day, and year you could be debt free, and then go for it. And then once you understand that, then you will become one of our clients and say, listen, I can be debt free here. Or if you're a real estate investor, I can cash out refi years sooner at a much lower interest cost because I'm never going to pay this thing off. But I want to take my cash out and I don't want to pay what I've been paying for it. Oh man, this is going to make all the difference in the world by not paying all that money out in interest, folks. All the difference in the world for you. All right. So listen, go to ICE10K.com. ICE10K, that stands for Interest Cancellation Expert, ICE10K.com. And when you go there, you will be able to get a savings and earnings report. One of my staff members will get that information. We will do the report for you and then set up a consultation. Once we do that, you're going to be golden after that. Folks, if you've been wondering what to do that's different, if you've been wondering that something is not quite right, you're like Neo in the Matrix. I know something's out there. So is there anyone that can explain this thing to me? Because I know it's not right. And then Morpheus comes along and says, take the red pill or take the blue pill. Take the red pill and find out the truth. Let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Or take the blue pill and stay in bliss and just stay where you are. Keep doing the same old thing, making the same money, and you're gonna do okay. You're gonna be okay. Nobody's gonna mess with you. But if you want to break out and be free, take the red pill. All right, folks. Thank you so very much for being here. Listen, Coffee Brown, are you still with us? Maybe she's in the office now. I don't know. Anyway, folks, we're at the end of our show right now. We have about 7 minutes left. And do I have another question? Do I have questions or comments? All right. Do I have questions or comments? You can come up to the stage or you can put it in the chat. And if you don't have either, we just may get out of here just a little bit early today. All right. So I want to make sure that people understand where we're coming from. And I just want to express to you the best way that I know how. The reason why we exist, the P.I.L.L method, okay, because I've been doing this for 16 years and we have been working hard to explain this to people who have been wondering and hoping and praying for a better way. And as you've been doing that, this may be you. If I'm talking to you either live right now or on the replay, if I'm talking to you, you realize that something is not right with your financial situation. It's not that you're in financial trouble. It's just that you're paying back the loans and you're following the advice that other people give, but it's not getting you where you want to go fast enough. And if you're saying to yourself, there's got to be something better than this, then you need to follow us. You need to take the red pill that we provide you and learn the truth, the life-changing truth, and sometimes the uncomfortable truth, because it's going to require change, and so much change that we are going to challenge some of the things that are the gold standard right now. I mean, the things that people are promoting that are supposedly best practices right now. We're going to challenge that. But not only are we going to challenge it, folks, we are going to give you the numbers to prove it. And no one else that we know of on the internet that talks about these best ways of doing things, they're not giving you the numbers, all of the numbers, to prove out what they're talking about. We're going to give you all of the numbers. We're going to give you the education, and we're going to give you the technology, the computer program that does all of the math and gives all of the instructions that's going to lead you to financial freedom, just like Financial GPS, the only program in the world that does that. Folks, I want to thank you for being with us today. We're going to be right back here on Friday with a brand new subject. I want to thank you for coming in. Thank everybody who made a comment, who shared the room. Berna says extra payments has to go to principal on the mortgages, right? Yes, that is correct. All right. They go to the principal. That's the only place they can go. That's the only place it can go. It can't go on the interest. You can't prepay interest. You can only prepay principal, which saves you interest. And then you're so welcome, Berna. And then it says, somebody says, join Telegram. What does that have to do with me? All right, let's get rid of that. All right. And join the platform, earning money. Oh, listen, we don't want to earn money anywhere else but here, Mr. Ethan. So you got to go. All right. So any other Mad Kumar says, what if a person dies by that 7 to 9 years? Okay, let's handle that. Okay, say you're on the program, you're paying off, you're minimizing the amount of interest that you pay on your loan. Okay, and you're supposed to be paid off in 30 years. Okay, but we said that you're going to be out of debt in 7. Okay, but you die in 5. That means you have paid off most of the mortgage so that when your relatives inherit it, they get a ton of equity because you didn't pay all of that interest. That's the answer to that question. All right. So I don't see any other questions. So folks, we're going to, our last bit of in the last couple of minutes here, we're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. And I'm just going to say goodbye to you and let Dr. Eric Thomas take us out. And then we're going to go into our outro music. And it's brand new. I hope you like it. And if you like the new graphics, if you like our new music, please put a comment in the chat and let us know, because we always want to provide a quality experience for you guys. Catherine Edwards says, when is the payment made on the principal? The true answer to that is, the basic answer is before the next payment is due. The real answer is our computers figure out for each individual when that is done. There is no one thing to do for everybody. It is actually very individual, Catherine. If you want to know more about it, This is video number 150. We have been up here almost 1 year. Okay. And we've got a lot of content to watch. If you want to know more, contact me at Don or ice10k.com. All right. Or hit me on my back channel and Instagram. You can DM me on the P.I.L.L Methods Instagram and get more information. Set up a consultation. We'd be glad to do that. So here's how you start. Go to ice10k.com. I'm putting it in here. Ice, the number 10, the letter K.com. All right. And you'll see, that's my digital business card. You'll see a button that says get a savings and earnings report. Click that button and fill out all of your information. Okay. And then somebody from my team will help you. So ice10k.com, our button to help you there is get a savings and earnings report. And then you'll be all set to go. Folks, thank you so very much. Let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, and I'll see you on Friday. Have a good day. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and our team created the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system ever created. At our recent seminar in Nashville, Tennessee, the keynote speech was delivered by the #1 motivational speaker in the world, Dr. Eric Thomas. E.T., as he's also known, mentioned he paid off his mortgage in 4 years using the P.I.L.L Method. I invite you to watch and listen.
Listen to me, y'all. One of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Did you hear that? No mortgage, no stress. If you would like to become debt and mortgage free within an average of 7 to 9 years by cutting your interest costs by up to 75%, go to pillmethod.com and request a savings and earnings report today.